What's going on, everybody? Z here, and welcome back to Dune Awakening. Today, we're going to be talking about maybe a glaring issue that that players might start facing in Dune here, and an issue that maybe will hopefully get addressed sooner rather than later. Now, the issue I'm talking about is endgame. The entire endgame, that's what we're going to talk about. But I want to talk about a little bit before we get there to kind of lay the foundation on why I think this is going to become an issue. So let's start at the very beginning of the game. When you join the game, you're going to be playing in an area called the Haga Basin. This is the entire map right here, right? This is going to be the area that you explore. You're going to go raid camps. You're going to go do testing sites. You're going to go do all this fun stuff. You're going to build. You're going to explore. You're going to unlock. You're going to have fun with your friends. The entire experience here is an absolute blast. It's such a fun survival game. Now, this is at the front and foremost a survival game. Now, it is also an MMO type game. So the survival progress is a little slow. It takes a little bit of time. And roughly, in my experience, you're probably going to have about 60 hours into this area before you're ready for the end game, before you're ready for the deep desert. That's why this is a problem. Now, the problem isn't the deep desert itself. It's the lack of options and choices for players that are playing the game. Like I said, you have about 60 to 100 hours in the Haga Basin that you can explore and do everything you want. You can go through and do absolutely everything. You can avoid PvP the entire time if you would like. There are some areas within the map that are PvP that personally, I don't think should be PvP. I feel like they should be another PvE area. I don't like it, but it is what it is. You can get around it by going down to a non-PvP site. There's only one in the game for the green stuff, which is in the starting area, but there is the option there. Now, the problem, like I said, starts when you get towards the end game. So you can get all the way up to aluminum, to duraluminum, but you cannot touch plastanium, because you need two resources that are only found in the deep desert. So why is this a problem, and why do I think players are going to start having an issue? Because up until this point, the entire game is PvE. 99% of the game right now, 95% of the game is PvE. You do not have to go fight players. You do not have to risk losing your stuff. You do not have to risk losing your time, your effort, your resources, that maybe you don't have a whole lot of time to play the game, and maybe it's taking you a long time to get to where you're going. You don't want to risk it. And currently, as it sits, you cannot get to this tier and build this stuff without doing the deep desert, without going into PvP, without being forced to go into PvP. Now, the reason that I think this is an issue, I don't have an issue inherently with PvP whatsoever. I think there should absolutely be PvP options. I think people should be able to play how they want, and that's the problem. Right now, you cannot play how you want. You have to play the way the game is telling you. You get to this point and you get stopped, and you get basically slapped with a do not proceed unless you want to PvP. Now, I believe the inherent problem with this, and the reason that this is also not an issue yet, is because a lot of the more casual players that aren't like myself, streamers, YouTubers, and stuff like that we can put all this time into this game, is a lot of people haven't gotten to this point yet. People are dedicating hours upon hours playing a game that they're having a blast with, which I think is great. But it's gonna end once they realize they have to go to the deep desert. They have the possibility to lose everything in order just to get some resources to continue. I do not think it's fair to force PvP onto PvE players, especially when the game is 99% PvE. When the game is marketed as PvP is always an option. Simply opting out and not being able to play the content of the game is not an option. You are making players do that. Now, like I said, a lot of people aren't there yet. A lot of people haven't hit that point. And when they do, that's when it's going to start. It's already started. I've seen a lot of stuff on social medias. I've seen a lot of stuff on Discords. I've seen a lot of stuff on comments and stuff like that. People are already complaining. And the reason for that is because most people playing this game are looking for the PvE experience. Most people have 60 hours into the game before realizing, wow, I can't do anything anymore. And unless I want to risk it all, I'm done, and that's it. And it's a really, really crappy feeling trying to build up, trying to do all this stuff just to know that, hey, I can't go any further. Now, I know when I say, oh, I can't go any further, yes, you can. You could go PvP and you could make it further, but that is not the point. The point is you're forcing players to do a PvP. You're forcing players into a situation where they don't want to, where they, in my opinion, you have been fed that this is a PvE game. You have been played the entire time as PvE. but now magically it's PvP. The other problem that I have is the way that the PvP works. So when you spawn into the deep desert, we'll actually go there right now and I'll show you. So this area right here, this is the deep desert. When you enter it, you enter a little area that is safe from, it's not PvP in this first quadrant for the most part. As soon as you leave these cliffs, it's PvP. So you have this little safe area that basically runs, you know, back and forth. But within that safe area, there is no resources. There's no titanium. There's no higher level resources that you need for the final tier, which I believe a lot of people's understanding was that there was going to be a beginning area that was going to have all of the resources available. So if you didn't want to go out further and do the PvP stuff, you didn't have to. But that is not the case currently. Right now, in order to get any of that higher tier stuff, you have to go out and you have to brave the deep desert against the players. Now, again, I don't have an issue with PvP. What I have an issue with is players that don't want to PvP, solo players that want to go out here, maybe try to get a little titanium, maybe try to get a little stuff, so slowly work on getting that next set of gear. But the second they leave the shelf, they're met with 5-10 ornithopters, rocketed, and they're destroyed and blown out of the sky immediately. That's not fun for the PvE player. That's not fun for the people that just want to casually play a game and have a good time. When we've been playing a game this entire time that has been PvE, when we're told on the Steam page, PvE is always optional. That's where this issue is going to come in. Now, like I said, this area is PvP right here. You can build a base here. This will be, everything here gets destroyed during the storms, which is fine, but there's nothing here. There's no resources here. There's nothing to get. The content that's already in the deep desert looks like an absolute blast. It looks like so much fun. There's giant sandworms. You can fly your carrier ornithopters out there. You can drop your harvesters. You can fight the environment like you have been the entire time. You can fight against the weather, the desert, the heat, the sun, the giant worms, all of that stuff. There's such a good possible PvE experience here, but it's all shadowed and ruined by the fact that at any moment you could lose everything to a group of people that just want to come in and just blow your stuff up for no reason. That's not fun for the PvE players. Like I said, have a PvP option for sure. I'm not ragging on PvP players. I absolutely get it, but don't make the PvP players can't have fun at the expense of the PvE players, because the PvE players make up the majority of the people playing this game. If you upset the majority of the people playing the game, what's gonna happen? Now, my answer to this, in my immediate quick fix, super quick fix that I think would be an easy quick fix, is, if you've never seen this overmap, this is basically how you move from the Haga Basin to the deep desert to the Arrakis town and then Harco village or whatever. This is how you do that. The easiest option that I can see here is, oh look, we have a deep desert west. Easily, deep desert, 3 times resources, PvP. Say it right there. And then simply make another one over here. Guess what? Deep desert east, 1x resources, PvE. Let players choose where they want to go. If people feel like they need more resources, they need 3x resources or whatever, let them go do the deep desert PvP. Let them do that, absolutely. But let players choose what they want to do. They could easily put another thing over here that's a deep desert PvE. They don't even have to add any content. They could literally leave it the deep desert that's already there and just remove player versus player. You already, like I said, you already have that environmental combat. It already looks like an absolute blast. It already looks like such a good time. People would love it, and it's a super easy fix until they figure out what they want to do later. If they feel like they need more PvP stuff, they can do that later. If they feel like they need more PvE, they can do that later. But this would be, I think, a quick fix to get it fixed right away, so that way you can make the players that are currently playing happy and keep them playing. Because as far as I know, I don't know a whole lot about video games, but as far as I know, this screen right here is basically a fancy screen for me to switch servers. I click on this, it's going to populate me to a different server. So guess what? Fire up a server and put a Deep Desert East over here. PvE, 1x resource. I don't know. Most people haven't even gotten titanium yet. Adjust the resource rate as needed. Make it harder to get it in PvE, whatever. I don't know. But give us the option. So again, I think the overall problem here, the big problem that's going to be a problem, because once people get to the end and once people realize that the entire end game is PvP, I think that's gonna be the problem. I don't think people realized, and I don't think we were sold that, hey, this game the end game is completely PvP. Right now, the only thing you can do at the end is PvP. The only thing you're going to play and work towards in the game is being able to PvP. So many people are having such a good time right now with the PvE, and once they realize that all they can do now is PvP, I think that's going to cause a problem, and I think we're going to see some people upset about it. So, again, I think there's a super easy fix here. I think there's a super simple fix, and I think it can be fixed relatively easy. But yeah, leave your comments down below. I'd like to know what you want to hear. If you disagree with me, by all means, let me know. I'm more than happy to discuss and talk. Join the Discord, hit me up on Twitter, X, whatever. I love talking about it. Again, I love the game. The game is fantastic. I still recommend it. It's still a fantastic time. It's a great time. If you like survival games, you would absolutely love the first half of the game. And if they change it to where you can go to the deep desert and survive against the big worms and stuff like that, absolutely. It looks like so much fun. But like I said, being shot out of the sky by other players, and PvE players like to be able to control when they're in combat and when things happen. And that's kind of what the PvP gets rid of, is you don't have control over your own stuff. And PvE players don't like that. It is what it is. So again, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Leave a comment, let me know. Again, I'm not complaining to just complain. I think there's an easy fix to it, and I hope it gets fixed, because I'd love to see everybody be happy, and I'd love to see everybody play the way they want to play, because I think that's ultimately what matters most. Play the way you want to play. Don't take one person's enjoyment at the expense of another person. I don't think that's ever fun. I don't think that's ever fair. But yeah, leave a comment, let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.